What's up, my people? Roland Martin here. I am sitting in Landmark Restaurant in One Time Warner Center. And this is the beauty of being able to be mobile, do what you do. I can do it from pretty much anywhere. And so I had to travel here for a meeting. I had a meeting in an hour and 15 minutes. But before I do that, first of all, let me start this way. Let me thank everybody who watched the live stream from San Antonio on Monday, MLK Day. It was a great, the largest MLK march in the country. Had a fantastic time there in San Antonio. I'm going to be in Georgia State tomorrow, speaking for their MLK program. I'll be speaking at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga on Friday. So rather busy week, travel day for me. So I came early to New York today before my meeting to sit down with McCray. She is the First Lady of New York City, the wife of Mayor Bill de Blasio. And she has an initiative. They are partnering with all the black sororities as well as the links to deal with the issue of mental illness. And so, for instance, when it comes to mental illness. So here's my conversation earlier today from Gracie Mansion with McCray. She, of course, the First Lady of New York City. Let's talk about your mental health initiative.
All right.
So exactly what is it?
Well, it's this is a partnership. Sisters Thrive is a partnership of 6 historically black women-led organizations. And all right, and we want to train 10,000 of their members by the end. Well, it's different because it deals with behavioral health. Like, we all know like what to do if someone's bleeding. They have that basic information, but we don't know what to do if someone's having a panic attack, or if someone's suffering from depression, or they don't have those basic skills. Mental health first aid teaches people how to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental illness and substance misuse, and also what to do about it.
You also have Powell, the brother who was killed shortly after Michael Brown in St. Louis, and he comes out and it literally was 16 seconds from the moment the police door opened to the first shot was fired, and he was mentally, and he ends up dead.
That's right, and that story is so tragic, and I feel for his family and friends, and there are so many others. But we should not get to that point. That's the thing. I want you to know that first of all, mental illness, substance abuse, so prevalent in our society. 1 in 5 adults suffer in any given year. 1 in 5 children, which means that every single one of us knows somebody. If it's not in our family, then certainly in our extended family or in our friends, our community, we're all touched by this. And if we all know the signs and the symptoms, we can get people to treatment sooner. And communities of color, the numbers are probably 20% higher because of the trauma, because of poverty, because of so many things. But the average wait time between when symptoms emerge and people actually go for treatment is 10 years. And of course, in many cases, they never go for treatment. And then they spiral down because we're talking about a disease here. And if people don't get treated, what happens? It gets worse, right? So we're not doing those preventions and interventions that should be happening.
What has been the reaction when you talk to folks about this? Because look, I mean, people often say, so and so just having a bad day, and then we just sort of just dismiss it.
Yeah, that's why we need people to take mental health first aid, take this course, get certified. We need more education about the whole issue because, look, I'm a parent. I know, I didn't know that in most cases, the symptoms of mental illness emerge by or before the age of 14 or 24. Half the cases by the age of 14, 75% of the cases by the age of 24. That means that we need to be paying attention to our young people in a way that most of us don't realize. We'll say, oh, my son, my daughter, just acting like a teenager, being withdrawn, personality change. Those are signs that we should be doing something. And more of us have to understand that this is not about having a bad day, not when someone has a behavior that is chronic, meaning it's happening day after day after day.
Or even having what I call a bad life. I mean, we are, we're having this conversation the day after the young man who's the quarterback at Washington State University. He redshirt sophomore. He killed himself last night, and the folks are trying to figure out. Oh my goodness, you know, I mean, here's a college student going to be starting for the football team next year, Pac-12 major university, 21 years old. Younger brother's one of the top quarterbacks in high school, and he committed suicide. And they're trying to figure out what in the world, what happened, how did we not see this thing coming?
Right. It is so important for us to reach out to our loved ones, our friends, and to understand what they're going through. We tend to keep our feelings inside, you know, especially, you know, us. We like to feel like we're strong and we're in control, but, you know, life has many challenges, and if we're not talking seriously to one another about what we're going through, and it makes it harder to detect, like, who needs help. Maybe, I don't know what his situation was. Maybe he told someone he was thinking about taking his own life. If so, then it would have been possible to intervene to help him get to the help that he needed. But more of us have to understand, like, well, what do you do in that situation? Find out, does somebody have a plan? That's an indicator that, you know, that getting treatment is urgent, right? If someone has a plan to take their own life, and they have the means to do it, and that means, well, we've got to get that person to help right away.
So what does the first aid look like? I mean, how long is it? I mean, how long does it take?
It's an 8-hour course, a 7 or 8 hour course. So it's pretty intensive, and one has to get recertified every 2 or 3 years. So it's all day, it's interactive, and let me tell you, it really transformed my life. I took the class about 3 years ago, and when I took it, I learned so much that I said, we've got to get as many people as possible to take this class so that they understand this very basic information, which none of us grow up with. We just don't. We don't even have the language for it. I mean, you said commit suicide. Like, we don't commit suicide. It's like we take our own lives. You know, people die, and we don't have terminology that is sensitive in a lot of cases for what people are going through.
So you want 10,000. So how many folks have gone through it thus far? And when do you want to have? When do you want to hit that number?
Well, we want
3 months, 6 months.
We want to hit that number, 10,000. By the end of 2018, just for the Sisters Thrive component. But in New York City, we've already trained, on our way to training 250,000 New Yorkers in the next 4 years. And have you had conversations with picking up on this? Yes, everywhere I go, I talk about Thrive NYC, which is our comprehensive mental health plan, and mental health first aid is a core part of it. I talk to other folks, but every other states how we're doing it. Why we're doing it, and because we want to share this information, we need to get it out to as many people as possible.
So if somebody wants to get in contact, what do they do?
So if anyone wants to sign up for mental health first aid in New York, they can just go to nyc.gov/MHFA. That's the information.
What's going on?
What else? Well, first, I want to be involved in public service, to Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, Zeta, Eastern area of the Links. They're all working together, which is really unprecedented for them to work with government in this
Where are the fraternities?
They're working on it right now.
Where are the fraternities?
Yeah, I hope to come back and tell
I'm an alpha, so
I guess we'll be back and talking with you soon.
I mean, you got all the sororities there, the female groups. You got to have, of course, the fraternities.
Yeah, of course we do. Of course we do. But we got to start somewhere. To working with our brothers this year. And, I hope you'll invite me back to talk about.
No, we can do that. It's not a problem.
And if the brothers want to do 20,000 in a year, hey, that's fine with me.
All right. Well, I'm sure.
Fantastic.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. Good to be here.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
So y'all, I'm sitting so glad conversation to what's going on in terms of getting men. All right. Let's go to my next story. DACA And this shows you, I keep telling y'all Republicans, problem here, okay? You don't want to meet with the Congressional Black Caucus, but guess what? The Congressional Black Caucus problem is actually the Wi-Fi. That's what the problem is. So it's the Wi-Fi here. So having that many audio issues. And so again, I'm looking at y'all. So in this later. I'm gonna show you this later when I get home, okay? All right, so I'm gonna break this thing down for you a little bit. I'll talk to y'all then. Peace.